You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver.
What the hell is that?
Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, the day that I never thought would come has come. I need from everyone, listeners included, a moment of silence, please, for our fallen overlord. Yes, that's right. Beef Lactus, the world eater, has fallen. The galaxy is crumbling. Famine, pestilence, death, running rampant. Galaxies everywhere are crumbling. Worlds are falling into chaos. There's death in the streets. Not many will survive this. Those that do survive will wish that they had gone with their fallen friends and family. For the world they emerge into is, well, it's not going to be a world worth living in. Everybody, please, a moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And for those who feel the need to draw attention to themselves when they should be paying respects, shame on you. You're a bad person. You're a small person. Hope you feel bad about yourselves. And I hope you can't sleep at night. Or you might already be sleeping. Call back. Hi! It's time for the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast. And if you haven't gathered already, the worst has happened. Just the worst has happened. Our galactic overlord and his herald, both dead. I can't tell you how displeased. You know what? We can't focus on the past. We have to focus on the way forward. We have to focus on the light at the end of the tunnel. There has to be some good that has come from this, and we must cling to that good. We have wrestling talk to talk about. WWE Summerslam, allegedly, has happened. Other things have happened. Ric Flair's last match has happened. Much needs to be said about all things wrestling, and we're here to say those things. Poot the Bard, he is here. I have to choke this. I have to try with all my might to choke this out. Beef the Legend. Beef the Legend is here. Oh, gosh. That was tough to do. That was tough to say. Usually there's much more grandiose entrance. But, yes, Beef the Legend is here. And, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you myself. I am Ransom Dundee. And I am your leader on this excursion as we adventure deep into the jungle, into the last remaining beacon of hope. We are going to take a trip into the last thriving bastion of life. Here in this vast wilderness, there stands a mountaintop, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is our destination on this excursion. For many have gone into this wild wilderness. Very few have returned, but those that did, those that have returned, have told a tale of the King of the Mountain, who stands upon the peak of the Mountain of Kings. If we can make it to the center of this jungle, and make it out, you will have a story to tell. I can't guarantee that you will come back. And if you do, I can't guarantee that you will be the same. but you will have a tale to tell to your friends, your family, and your loved ones. For those that reach the center of this jungle kingdom, those that reach the base of the Mountain of Kings, those few brave adventurers are bathed in a bright golden light. This bright, warm, life-giving light comes from the peak of the mountain. And if you have the intestinal fortitude and the very will to gaze up upon the peak of the mountain, you will see standing there the majesty. You will see a man who has a belt adorned around his majestic waist. This elegant golden belt reads Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast, Chooseweight Champion. The galaxy may be crumbling around you, but if you can make it into the center of this wilderness and stand at the base of this mountain, you will gaze up upon the king of the mountain, the king of the jungle. Adorning his waist, you will see the belt of belts. And there is one man alone who can lead this jungle kingdom into prosperity and peace and be a beacon of hope and light for all that remain in this crumbling galaxy. Ladies and gentlemen, the king of the mountain, the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast's Chooseweight Champion, the king of the jungle, Tiger Bomb Tom.
Uppercut. Wow. Thank you for that. Wow.
That's pretty fucking cool.
I was speechless. You almost brought a tear to my eye, Ransom. Thank you. I was not expecting that.
Listen, I don't care if I ever win this Chooseweight title again, because I am a better advocate, herald, and excursion leader than I am a champion.
I'm no longer going to call you Ransom the Madman. I'm going to call you Ransom the Hype Man, because, dude, you bring it every time. Doesn't matter if it's me or Beef or Poot. I don't recall such a grandiose thing for Dave, allegedly, but still, no, you man, thank you. I appreciate that. It was a good run. Beef, what since we're on the subject, what were the final standings at the end of SummerSlam? It was a bit of a doozy at the end there.
Beef, pull stats out of your ass, please.
You are the statistician and the keeper of the books, so
I don't know,
Stat
man.
Stat monkey.
I am a stat monkey. I'll be the first to admit, man. I'm a stat boy. I like stats. All right, here are your final what have you. Uh-oh. What? Where are my totals? All right, so apparently I don't have actual totals yet.
Oh no.
So nothing's official.
Son of a fucking bitch. Son of a fucking bitch.
This is going poorly.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm sorry, everybody. I am just the worst. All right.
It's going poorly.
Talk. I'll do some ads. Everybody talk.
So
I'm gonna go get some rum. I can't. This is what's happening.
Well, I know at the end, I know going into SummerSlam, Pat's wife Amber was leading the pack, and I was a few points behind her. Then shortly right behind me was Beef. I'm scrolling back at our chat to try to find numbers. There we go.
No. Don't talk about this. Talk about wrestling, and I'll.
Okay.
I'll
Let's talk about wrestling. Let's talk about SummerSlam while we're at it. So who all watched it? Did everybody watch it already or no?
Yeah, man.
I was pretty sure you did, and Ransom, you were watching it, weren't you?
You talking SummerSlam?
Yes.
Yeah, I did. I watched it.
Okay. I wasn't sure if Poot did that night or not, because I know we had the chat going bing 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 all night long. So
I think Poot was doing a show that night, so he
was. Poot, did you get a chance to watch it yet or no? I know he's muted. Where is Andy? Andy's never here. Son of every bitch. SummerSlam was a. There he is. Oh, it's okay. Okay. Well, I'm with I'm in the same boat as that. I did not watch Ric Flair's last match, but again, like I said, we'll get to that. No, SummerSlam was a really good card. It was a solid show, up and down. It was a strong start, with the women's title match with Becky and Bianca, really the only awkward match, or the only match that was like the worst of any, if you had to pick one, I think, in my opinion, was Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey. It just seemed very, like, I don't know. It wasn't fluid. It was choppy, and I don't know if that's just because they don't have good chemistry or if it's just Ronda. And I hate to say it, I know there's a lot of people that really dig her, and they're like, oh, she does really good for, coming from MMA and everything like that. I don't know. I just don't dig her in ring work. It always just seems very choppy, and maybe it's supposed to, because of the fact that she's, a UFC fighter turned pro wrestler. But
Well, and I think that her opponent didn't do her any didn't do her any justice either, because it's not like Liv Morgan is some fucking like vet, like
oh no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
so I mean, the fact that neither one of them could be dependent on to carry the match,
right,
and you could tell.
Right, and that the thing is like I've seen that kind of like choppy in ring work, regardless of who's been in there with Ronda. Like, I've seen her have it with with the likes of Becky and Charlotte and whoever. Like, it's just, I hate to say it, I think it's her. But yeah, I mean, like, that was kind of the low point. I really didn't pay a whole lot of attention to the Judgment Day and Mysterio's match. I forget what was going on. I think food was being had, and I don't even know. Or I was probably doing it on my work call at that point, so I was like half paying attention to that one. Cool to see Edge come back. I could deal without face Edge, but his entrance was pretty badass. Having that Brood type entrance. How much did you pop for that, Ransom?
I mean, I thought it was neat. I think I was a little distracted by the whole, like, okay, they're either going to do the right thing or the stupid thing. And I need to know which one they're going to do. And it wound up being the stupid thing.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really focused on the entrance. I was more focused on, like, okay, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? Oh, he did exactly what we thought he was going to do. What a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're all in agreement with that. It was the Judgment Day needs the win, but that was that again when we talked about it on picks, I was like, that's the one thing that worried me, is that Judgment Day had kept getting the one-ups on Mysterios for the last number of weeks. And I was like, you watch. I was like, they're due a win, unfortunately. I was like, they don't need the win, but it could happen. And, well, sure enough, it fucking did. So we got Edge back. and I don't know. I really hope they start to really give the Judgment Day a really good push moving forward. I feel like if anybody has a lot to gain from this, I feel like it's Damian Priest. I feel like he's going to get a huge rub from working, with and against with Edge in the ring and stuff like that. Like, match quality wise, I feel like inevitably, like, Finn Balor and Edge is going to be a really, really awesome in ring spectacle. But I feel like Damian Priest is going to gain a lot from that, and hopefully that takes him up to like that next level. Not too surprisingly, I will say, even though again he is human garbage quantified, personified, him and his brother. Logan Paul fucking
Oh,
showed
okay.
up. Well, yeah. I mean, I'll call a spade a spade. I'll give him credit where credit's due. Logan Paul seems to have a natural ability for pro wrestling. He's doing the work. I guess AJ Styles was training him, and I don't know if that's just kayfabe or if there was some validity to that in real life or not. But man, Logan Paul is doing the damn thing in the ring. He's legit. He's got athletic ability in there. Again, that's credit where credit's due. I still hate him more than Goldberg, and he's still human garbage, but he did a good job. Yeah, I mean, it's true. He did a fantastic
I think it's
job.
time for us to admit that, like, and I think that they are, but like the way that they're doing things right now is not working. And the way that they were doing things was like bringing up these kids and being like, "Go be sports entertainers." No, you can't pull a bear out of the woods and be like, "Go be a fish." Like, I don't even care if the bear has gills, he's not going to be a fish. You can't
Fair.
pluck someone from relative obscurity and be like, "Go." No, man. Like, you got to have drive. You got to have, and I mean, like, I understand that a lot of these people on NXT right now are focused and determined and have put a lot of manpower in, but at the end of the day, they don't have the experience, and that's why NXT Black and Gold was so successful, because they had the people that were driving, that were, on the tongue of everybody, So, like, making Dominic Mysterio a key player is not going to work. And I think the sooner that Triple H fucking realizes that is, but a guy like Logan Paul, the sky's the fucking moon, man, because he can go out there and piss off every
Sky's the
last.
moon.
That's right. You heard me. The sky is the moon. The to the moon, over the limit. Fucking do it. He is what you want to see in a superstar. He can piss off every last person in the fucking country without saying a word. And he has shown really great aptitude with being in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Pat McAfee's another one on the other side
Who?
of Pat McAfee on the other side of the
McAfee.
coin. He is another guy that can make you absolutely love him without doing a damn thing. And he works harder than most people do in that ring.
Yeah.
So my props are off to both of those two guys. They fucking killed it at SummerSlam.
Oh yeah.
Here's the sad / funny part, is that, I mean, we all know why Dominic is there, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's not a secret. They can say whatever they want, but really, at the end of the day, Dominic Mysterio was there because Vince wanted Ray to stay, and the only reason that Ray would stay is if Dominic got a shot or a spot or something. But when you look at guys like Pat McAfee, boy, I had to pause and think, like, I heard Beef say McAfee, and it wanted to come out that way. But when you look at guys like Pat McAfee, Pat McAfee and Logan Paul, like, Logan Paul, he's had 2 matches. Pat McAfee has had a few, not many, but a few. These 2 guys are so much better in the ring than Dominic Mysterio is. It's a crying shame.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I have no... Oh, stop bothering me. I have no qualms if Dominic Mysterio wants to get into wrestling. Fine, do it. But to be propelled to the main roster and constantly have a spotlight shown on you because A, you're Rey Mysterio's kid, and B, you're wrestling with Rey Mysterio, you're given tag team titles so early, so fast. Like, my hope is that, like Beef said, that was a Vince McMahon all day, all night, all day. Maybe with Triple H here, I don't know. Maybe something will change. Maybe he'll say, hey, why don't we send Dominic to NXT and give him a little solo run in NXT? He could do some learning there. He can get away from Ray. I don't know. It's just it seeing Logan Paul and Pat McAfee, seeing them in the ring only accentuates to me how stupid it is that Dominic Mysterio, who is constantly wrestling, was not put through his paces. I can give guys like AJ Styles a pass. You know, AJ Styles didn't go through NXT. Styles didn't need to go through NXT. You know, but all these other people that started in NXT and were told, like, you got to learn the WWE way, you know, you got to do this, you got to do that. All these seasoned veterans, all these seasoned veterans who had been wrestling for such a long time, Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, all it's had to start out in NXT because you had to start here. Something needs done with Dominic Mysterio. He doesn't need to be continuing on the main roster. That's a mistake that needs to be rectified. Cut your losses. Hey, our bad. Fix it.
If I may, number one, McAfee. Number two,
yeah, man, I think we know.
Yeah, well, you know, number two, I think the excuse with Dominic is because, I mean, say what you want about Rey Mysterio. I know Beef is not a big Rey Mysterio apologist. But I mean, if your father is one of the like legendary luchadors of all times, I feel, well, the problem, okay, this kind of just popped into my head. NXT was used for two different things. It was both a place for people to go and cut their teeth, learn the WWE way, and also be almost in a quote unquote, in a developmental like environment. But then it was also used as a platform to just get people familiar with names that they already knew. It gave, you know, guys like the people that you mentioned, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Samoa Joe, Johnny Gargano, even Tommy End. And I'm using the name Tommy End. Like, it gave those guys a platform to, like, the fans that were into NXT might have heard of these guys, but really never got to know them. And it just gave them a chance to show off what they could do and get the audience familiar with them. So it was almost like it was NXT wore two different hats depending on who you were. Dominic Mysterio, your father is a legendary luchador. Arguably, he's training you. You should know what you're doing. You shouldn't have to go into developmental. However, what would have been awesome to see is, yeah, okay, he's Ray's kid. Let him develop his own thing. Put him there, and I know I just used the term develop, but like put him in there and go, all right, we're well aware you're Ray's kid. Be you. Don't be Ray. Don't be an offshoot of Ray. Be you. And I think that would have been good for him to go in there. But if you're looking at strictly like in-ring ability, I'm not sitting here lauding and saying that Dominic Mysterio is fucking incredible. I'm saying that I understand the mentality of why they just brought him straight to the show. I get it.
Yeah, because I mean, like to a certain extent, I would say it's safe to say that if you are a wrestler's kid, if you're second or third generation, they're, you know, to use the cliche, oh, it's in their blood. I mean, it literally is to some degree. You know,
they've probably been doing it since they were kids, literally, like informal training.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I agree. I would have liked to seen some sort of character development with Dominic, so it's not just he's Ray's kid. Like, to a degree, you know, you could say that, like, with Charlotte or whatever, like, you know, it's, she kind of started off with the whole she's Ric Flair's daughter, and by now I don't think she's quite quite underneath that shadow anymore. Not quite. I mean, still there, but it's always going to be there. But you know, she's come into her own. Same with Natalia. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't think anybody ever really went like, oh, that's Jim the Anvil Neidhart's daughter. You know, like she never really had that huge shadow as much. I don't feel. Maybe I'm wrong because I didn't see, you know, a lot of her early work, like whenever her and Tyson Kidd and
but it was definitely
out.
part of her like thing.
Yeah. But yeah, and I'm waiting for the inevitable heel turn with Dominic. If it doesn't come, I'm going to be highly disappointed. But
I will never understand. Like, people seem to think that heel turns equal like not being popular. Like, one of the most popular wrestlers today, Adam Cole, is a fucking heel. Like, you can be a heel and still sell shirts. You can be a heel. The Miz is another great example. He's a fucking sack of shit. But man, people love to buy his fucking shirts, and he comes up with very clever catchphrases. People, and I mean, this goes back to fucking John Cena. Hell, I'm sure probably fucking Hulk Hogan. They don't want to go heel because they're like, oh, it's going to cut into my merch sales. No, man. You just need to do a fucking better job convincing the people that you're good at what you do. People will still fucking support you. How many people wore Edge shirts and he was a heel for a long time?
How many people now do you see with Roman Reigns doing the whole acknowledge me? They have you know, the one giant like foam fingers and stuff. Hell, you just said it yourself, Beef, with you know, Hogan not wanting to turn heel. That ended up being the best thing for him because NWO merch is, you know, some of the best selling stuff of all time.
Fucking go to a Kmart. They were everywhere.
Dude, I mean, fuck, I'm literally wearing my CGD NWO style fucking shirt right now. You know what I mean? It was inspired exactly from that very thing. Cena is even whenever he was a heel doing the whole, you know, Dr. Thugonomics shit and everything like that. And, you know,
that's because it's cool heel shit.
Exactly. It got to a point where he was the cool heel. And people were, you know, kind of going along with, you know, the end of his, like, you know, rap freestyles and stuff like that. Hell, if you want to take it a step further, Stone Cold was technically a heel. He was an anti-hero, and he was one of, if not the most popular wrestlers of all time to this day.
Yeah, man. You know? So, like, these wrestlers that want to sit in their fucking laurels and they're like, I don't want to be a heel. No, bullshit. You don't want to fucking try. Dude. And here's the thing, man. You know, Roman Reigns has come and gone with me.
Who the fuck says they don't want to be a heel?
What's that?
Who the fuck says they don't want to be a heel?
A lot of people.
Are you
serious? A lot of people don't want to be heels. Yeah, because...
Dude, being the bad guy's fun as shit. It's way easier to get people to hate you than like you.
It is,
absolutely,
but it's way tougher to get people to buy your fucking shirts. And when, you know, fucking 20% of your yearly income is based on your merch sales, yeah, you know what? I get the idea. But at the end of the day, man, that just means you gotta fucking work harder. You know? Because yes, your average fucking mark is not gonna buy a fucking heel shirt. But like, you know, the mark, the day of the mark is dead. I would say it's an even 50-50 split at worst.
Yeah.
Between marks and smarks. So like, there is no fucking reason why you can't go heel and like develop a character and be the bad guy. I absolutely think Dominic needs to be a heel, but I absolutely think he needs about 3 more years in training. Be it NXT, be it Booker T school, I don't care. The dude needs more time in the ring. It's very clear to me that guys like Pat McAfee and Logan Paul want it more and thus are willing to work harder because they want it more. Whereas guys like Dominic Mysterio, who are a legacy, and have basically been gifted a position, a Sim Snuka, if you will. Like, they don't work as hard. And like, you can be the son of the fucking Rock, but if you don't work hard, you ain't gonna go very far.
Right. I do want to bring up one last thing since we mentioned Logan Paul's name again, and having him work with the Miz, and then look at the last person that had a major feud with the Miz too, Bad Bunny. I was watching SummerSlam with my buddy Eli, and he brought up a really good point. It seems like that they put a lot of these, whenever they bring in the guest celebrities and stuff like that, they tend to have them work with the Miz. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, that brings up a really good point. I feel like the Miz is a very underappreciated in-ring worker. I feel like he's good with being able to carry the match and really make his opponent look like a million bucks.
No,
honestly, if you think about it, Miz works a pretty safe style. He's only had that one injury, and that was whenever him and Morrison got eaten by zombies, or he got eaten by zombies, or whatever that fucking nonsense was. That was literally like, in how many years that he never got injured until that point. Like, it really speaks to Miz's credit how good he is in the ring, and obviously we know how good he is on the mic. He is one of the best talkers on the mic that I've ever seen.
Well, and dude, I'll tell you this. Like, I was watching I was watching a little bit of SummerSlam, and the Miz, like, it's one of those things, like, every once in a while you forget where the Miz came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you forget. And that's a great thing, because when you think about how far he has come to become the like stalwart for WWE, he really has. He's become a very stalwart workhorse of a person. You put the Miz with anybody, and I think he would have a good program. And when I say a good program, I mean everything. I mean the promos, the build, the match, everything. And I think that, like Tom said, it speaks really highly to the Miz as someone who not only has the work ethic, not only has the talent, but has the respect for the business.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with the Miz, man. He works on every level. Like, you want fucking like Joe Sixpack to hate him? No problem. The dude's a dopey looking motherfucker from fucking Ohio that has somehow scored a fucking French Canadian dime piece like Marie's. Check. Like, you want the fucking smarts to hate him? No problem. He's a guy that doesn't work a smark, like, that he grates on the smarks, and I love him for that, because he knows what he's doing. Simple line, when Cody talked about the world title belt, and the Miz said the belt is something that holds up your pants, like, that just needles the fucking smart community, and he knows what he's doing. The Miz can literally piss anybody off. He's just like Logan Paul in a completely different but equal way. So it's amazing that, yes, he used to be a fucking reality star, but now he is a fucking bona fide WWE superstar.
Yeah. The last thing I wanted to touch on, well, actually, no, there's two things, I guess. The Usos match with Street Profits, once again, fucking perfection in tag team wrestling. Such a great match. Jeff Jarrett, for as old as he is, he looked pretty good in the ring there, like, just being there, and he was calling it down the middle and getting in their faces when they weren't breaking up the counts and stuff like that. So good on him. Just all around great tag team wrestling right there. It was really, I was really sitting there on the edge of my seat a couple times, wondering, like, this might be the time that Usos actually lose it. Like, they had me going a little bit. So it was nice to kind of get lost in that, and really have it really going into it, and by the end of it still having it be 50-50, down to the wire. It wasn't until like literally like one of the last sequences where I was like, oh yeah, the Usos have it. Up until that very, very last pivotal moment, and you could have had to go either way.
Yeah, man, and that's I think, and like I know that like they were a thing before Triple H, and that but I mean I think that a guy like Triple H is only gonna, because we know that Triple H has an affinity for the tag team division, and I think that he's only going to enhance how amazing these talents are going to be.
Oh, yeah.
So if surprise, surprise, Usos and the fucking Street Profits doing a fucking like 4.5, 5-star match, surprising no one. Like good for them. I'm glad they got their time, and I hope to see some more of those two teams together.
Absolutely. The main event was very interesting, to say the least. I thought it was kind of gonna go one way with Brock's tractor being brought down and
the fucking smoothest mic catch in the history of mic catches.
Yeah, did you see that too?
It's true.
That was amazing. that was something else.
So fucking satisfying.
It was. I probably, along with like 99% of everybody else that watched SummerSlam, thought for sure that either Brock or Roman or somebody was going to use the bucket of that tractor to pin the other person and keep them from getting up, a la who is it? Rockin' Mick Foley. Yeah, exactly. I thought for sure that's the way that was going to go down. I did not see it coming where where Brock was going to lift the fucking ring with the tractor. And the part that kind of worried me a little bit was when he went to get the bucket underneath it at the first shot, and he just kind of pushed the ring. I was like, uh-oh.
Yep. Like, everybody panicked. You could hear the panic in Michael Cole's voice.
Yeah. I don't blame him, because
I remember texting the group saying, "This is the damnedest thing I've ever seen," and then like seconds later, Corey Graves literally said, "This is the damnedest thing I've ever seen." And I mean, honest to God, like that's all I could come up with. My mouth was agape. I'm like, I don't know what's happening here, but I'm into it.
All right, Brock, do Brock things. Go ahead. Yeah. I like the idea that like when he pushed the ring a little bit, in Brock's head, even though he no-sold it in his head, he went, fuck.
Yep. I would have been. But
like there was a second that I think that Michael Cole legitimately thought he was going to die. Like,
I probably would have too if I'm sitting on the other side of that little announce table, and you see the ring
like fucking move 10 feet. You're like, oh fuck!
This is how I go. This is how it ends. Fucking the rings, you just see it coming at you, and I'm like, oh no.
I'm coming home, Papa Vinny.
but towards the end, admittedly, it was a little crazy, a little overbooked, and by the end of it, I'm kind of like, all right, like I was like, they're gonna literally like have to fucking just bury him under some shit, or they're gonna have to go back and actually use the tractor to pin him down. Or I thought maybe they were gonna put somebody underneath the part of the ring or something and use the ring to pin him down somehow. I knew one way or the other somebody was going to have to get buried or pinned under something, because like it was just one of those things like, what are you going to have to do to put this guy down?
Well, and I think that begs the question, like what are we going to have to do to fucking beat Roman Reigns?
Exactly.
All right, so like now you have literally made him invincible. I mean, Brock Lesnar, it seems like his time is over, at least for now.
Yeah.
He could definitely come back at any point. We've seen that with the whole fucking like return, Cena thing.
Yeah.
But like it seems like he's done. So like you can't have fucking McIntyre beat him. Not after he went through that shit show with Brock. Like there's no fucking way you could just have McIntyre beat the entire fucking bloodline. So like I just don't know what their out is going to be here.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, and again, whoever takes the title off of Roman, number one, you got to make it somewhat believable. Like, I just don't know how. I mean, it's going to be a wait and see sort of thing. One thing I wanted to touch on there from the end of SummerSlam, and like little things throughout SummerSlam. I don't know if any of you guys caught it or not, but there was definitely some of Triple H's thumbprint on SummerSlam and subsequently going into Monday Night Raw. From what I've heard, I didn't really get a chance to watch Raw this week yet.
Oh, Raw was great. Raw was fucking great.
I heard it was great. I know you were texting us talking about the the U.S. title getting a spotlight and stuff like that. But little things that they were doing during SummerSlam with on the announcing side of things, they were actually going back and kind of like giving you little bits of history and like telling you, kind of like giving you why this stuff was happening. Now, I'm not talking about just the little vignettes that show you, the little video packages that we get, the little 5-minute ones before each match to kind of bring us up to speed. Like, okay, this is why this match is happening. The storyline wise, this is why this is happening. But other little things, like they mentioned little pieces of history, like, kind of referencing that somebody, wrestled somewhere else or whatever, or something like that. Like other little things like that you never really would get with Vince at the helm, because in Vince's eyes, it was his world, his WWE universe, and everything that wasn't inside that universe fucking didn't exist outside of there. So don't
and let's appreciate Michael Cole for a minute, because for the first time in his whole career, he was able to announce without Vince McMahon yelling in his fucking ear, and he soared like a fucking eagle.
Yep. And the last touch of everything with the announcing stuff was at the very end, where you had Michael Cole saying, like, can we get this stuff off of Brock? Like, this is a human being under there. Like, somebody help him. And as they're like unburying him, you hear Corey saying, okay, don't move him. Let him breathe. Like, you made it feel really legitimized. Like, yes, it's sports entertainment, but it would be the same thing, like as if when somebody, when you have a football game going on and somebody gets seriously injured, everybody stops, a lot of players take a knee from both sides of the field, because at the end of the day, it's human beings, there's competition and everything like that. But, a lot of people were friendly outside of, from one city or one town to another, one team to another. Same way, they brought more realism to it, that it wasn't just sports entertainment. It was professional wrestling, and I really, really enjoyed that. It was a breath of fresh air.
You want to know the biggest thing that I noticed on Raw as far as commentary goes and changes? First of all, talents were being fucking used and were able to fucking do their thing. Look at Mustafa Ali.
Yeah, man. That fucking like the 450 into the fucking Styles Clash was fucking magic.
That was unreal. And that's the thing, is that this, first of all, every match on Raw was fucking entertaining. Mm-hmm. Every match was entertaining, and you got shit like that. And it was like, oh, fuck yeah, Mustafa Ali is actually a good fucking worker, in case you forgot from the CWC. But the biggest thing that I noticed, they used full fucking names. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times that Michael Cole had Mustafa Ali come out of his fucking face. Yep. It was an AJ Styles and Tommaso Ciampa. Like, it was fucking great.
Yeah, man.
I loved it.
Do you think we get Matt Riddle back?
I hope.
Maybe.
Like,
I mean, what better time? Like, now that he's out, he's been gone for a couple weeks. He's gonna come back. It's Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle is back. Like, real easy just to slip that in there, like it never went away.
We'll just hammer it away. Matt Riddle's back. Matt Riddle on the. Well, he did that with Mustafa Ali. He kept saying Mustafa Ali up to the top. Mustafa Ali. Like, it was like he was going, fuck yes, I can finally do this.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you backstage, that's the other cool thing is that you're hearing reports come out that all the talent is hyped that for what's happening. They are thrilled that H is in charge. And they should be.
I'll give you for instance, like, you know, the belts being combined, obviously we kind of thought was a problem. And we were like, oh no, you know, now fucking what? And for the last, you know, 6 months or whatever, like or even longer, because, you know, Brock was the champion and he kind of fucking held that title up. You know, as much as I love Brock, he wasn't around often. So here's fucking Triple H, night one on Raw, puts this big fucking video package narrated by JBL, and they have 2 qualifying matches to get into a number 1 contenders match for the United States title. He's building it up immediately. One show, the number 2 title on Raw already feels like the number 1 title on Raw, because there is no number 1 title on Raw, because the number 1 title on Raw is on SmackDown. Like it or not, that's where the fucking action is going to take place, because Drew's a fucking SmackDown guy.
Yep.
Roman's a SmackDown guy. That's where it's going to be. So what do? You elevate number 2, and that's exactly what Triple H did. Night fucking 1.
Isn't that a fucking crazy ass concept? Not even just dum-dums like us have been saying it. Fucking everyone's been saying it. Make those fucking mid-card titles make sense. Make them
Utilize that
feel
talent.
Good. Like,
Yeah,
damn it.
Man.
Utilize that underappreciated talent that's been miring away in mid-card obscurity with no storylines or no reason to.
I've
to
even
be
heard.
pushed.
I've even heard that No One Will Survive might be coming back.
God, that would be fucking amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Because again, like, Vince made a business decision, like, okay, the CFO money son guy, he's a real fucking prick or whatever, like, we're done with them. Triple H ain't gonna fucking cut his nose off to spite his face, because he gets it, man. He gets it.
Bring
Their
back
new theme,
CFO money.
aside from fucking Lashley and Roman's theme, and I guess Rollins' themes, like, the new themes are piss. They're terrible. Like, fucking give me CFO $ every day. I honestly am waiting for Killer Cross to come back. If Karrion Kross does not come back, I think it's a wasted opportunity.
I think Karrion Kross would do better. I think he would do better going to, like, Japan. I just, if they brought him back with the original gimmick that he had going with him and Scarlett, I'm here for it. But I don't.
I hope he.
In NXT, he was a fucking powerhouse. He was unstoppable in NXT. There's no reason that Triple H.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, finish your thought there, Beef. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say there's no reason that the guy who was in charge in NXT, who absolutely saw the fucking value in Cross and was like, this guy's gonna be our fucking title holder in 2 years. Like, we need to make him over now. There's no reason to believe that he, now who's in charge, can't do the same thing.
And, you know, they did move to a TV 14 rating or whatever.
Yep.
So there's nothing saying that he can't come back as Killer Cross. You know, that probably was a no-no during PG. But now that it's TV 14, like, just having a guy named Killer Cross, that's not stepping over any lines. That's not moving to PG 13 or R.
I don't even care if his name is Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross is a great fucking name. Like,
sure.
Either way, the big change, like, really the biggest change I want now is for the Viking Raiders to be stop called the new vicious Viking Raiders. We don't need adjectives as part of their team name. Like, that's seriously what the fucking announced team does. They say, and now the new vicious Viking. No, it's fucking stupid. And I want them to go back to being the War Raiders. At the very least, the War Raiders, you know? That's what I want.
That would be nice. One thing I want, though, I mean, like, I'm foaming at the bit to see, you know, all the amazing changes that I'm sure inevitably are going to come. I just want to caution everybody, including us four dum-dums. I don't want us to get too far ahead of ourselves and overhype and over-expect and then have things like not meet expectations. I want everybody to remember that there is going to be, you know, yes, there are changes already. Like, there are things that we're noticing now. That's good. But don't expect the world all at once. Take
Right.
it as it comes and let it breathe and let it develop and let everything come as it may. Because with, I mean, yes, Triple H is, is head of creative and everything like that, but he still has to answer, to people above him. Granted, that's his wife and Nick Khan, but he still has to answer to people above him. It's not like it's not that he's just like, well, you can do whatever the fuck you want now because Vince isn't here. So keep that in mind, but expect good things. Just don't expect it all coming at you all at once. Just bam, it's let it breathe.
I think we'll start to see, and we've already started to see the benefits of having Triple H in charge. And it's come slow. Like some things are small and they're slow. He hasn't made any blockbuster, earth-shattering moves yet.
Right.
So I think he's on the right track. I think he's moving slowly, methodically. He's taking baby steps because you don't want to either overwhelm or alienate the audience by going, okay, well, Vince is out, I'm in. Guess what? Boom. All sorts of crazy changes. He's a smart man. He knows what he's doing, and he's taking baby steps. Mm-hmm. So, I don't think we're getting ahead of ourselves. I don't think we're getting, at least, us on the show here, I don't think we're setting ourselves up for disappointment. I think we see he's making small, positive steps.
Right.
And if he continues to make those small, positive steps each week, each pay-per-view, each year, things are going to start to move into the positive. And, like you've already seen it in Summerslam. This has probably been the best Summerslam that we've seen in a good long while. And this probably had a lot of Vince McMahon booking in it already because, Vince just retired. SummerSlam was already planned. That's not to say that they can't rewrite the script on the spot. They've done it before. But at the same time, I don't think Triple H took SummerSlam and went, okay, well, let's take Vince's SummerSlam and let's do something completely different. I think he pretty much stayed with what the plan was and is improving baby step after baby step after baby step. There's already reports out there that Naomi and Sasha have reached a deal to return.
Right.
Which, again, positive. That's positive steps. So I think Triple H is going to right a lot of wrongs, but I think we're going to see it come slowly and gradually. And I think with each pay-per-view, we're going to start to be a little bit more pleased, and it's going to snowball. It's going to snowball into not one of those things where it's like, oh, here's the WWE pay-per-view. I'm going to have, I'm going to have it on in the background. I'm going to be doing other things. I'm going to casually watch. I think we're going to get to a point, I think we're going to get to a point where, we actually sit down and have the WWE pay-per-view as our focus. Like I'm hopeful that it's going to get back to that point. Like we don't put the big AEW pay-per-views on in the background. I can't, sorry, I say we. I don't. If I'm not watching it at Beefs, if I'm watching it at home, I don't put it on in the background. Like it's the focus. I put it on, I sit down and I watch it.
Yeah, man.
I think the WWE pay-per-views will get there. And I think probably by Royal Rumble or Mania, we'll get to the point where we're sitting down and watching the WWE pay-per-views, not as just background noise.
Can't miss television.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's going to get there. And I think we'll see it get there by the end of the year.
Yeah, it'll be like whenever we first started like getting together to watch pay-per-views, we were excited.
Sure.
Yeah.
So here's the problem though. With every ebb, there is a flow. And
look at this guy.
With every positive, there's seemingly a negative. As great as WWE is doing, AEW might be in a pinch of trouble.
Extrapolate.
Yeah. So everybody kind of viewed this whole like Discovery purchasing WB thing as a win for everybody. But in the last week, they've canceled the Flash, they've canceled Supergirl, they've shelved the Batgirl movie, which was in fucking post production. They've put they've put the word out that like HBO Max is gonna start trimming a whole bunch of scripted shows.
Yeah, they were.
Discovery is really starting to fucking throw some big fucking jabs, and like they're cutting a lot of fat from Warner Broadcasting and from Warner Brothers.
Ruh-roh.
Period.
Yeah.
Right. Scoob 2 gone. Not gonna happen. Like there is a lot of things that were coming down the Warner pipeline that are like, well, too bad now. So like, I wonder. I think AEW comes up for TV deals this year, and I read. I think it was Dave Meltzer said this, that like it's a really shitty situation because like yeah, you could go out and get more money from a different television station, but like no one is fucking dependable as TNT and TBS. Nobody.
Right.
Like as far as cable stations goes, outside of like USA, which is not gonna, broadcast AEW,
Right.
like you're gonna be hemorrhaging numbers. So there, I think the contract is up at the end of this year. So like they're gonna be they're in a tough spot to ask for more money. Now the positive is that Discovery is valuing live sports and like unscripted stuff. So like the NBA, NHL, Discovery's here for it. AEW could fall within that purview. But like things that I think were a slam dunk last year, like AEW being on HBO Max, I think you have to have a lot of trepidation now. And even though AEW has been playing ball with Discovery, they had the fucking shark cage match or whatever for Shark Week. Like AEW's played ball, and Tony Khan knows what he's doing, and like I understand that like that contract isn't all the money, but like that contract with Turner Broadcasting is AEW right now. Without that, I dread where they may end up.
Right.
So like it's a very slippery slope right now, and I'm hoping, and I mean AEW continues to churn out great matches. Fucking Garcia versus Danielson last week, fucking tremendous. The women's tag match this week, fucking tremendous. Yuta versus Jericho, pretty good. Like AEW continues to have great shows. That's not the problem. The problem is having a financial backer that's like,
Well,
And like you said, Beef, the problem being, you get, like you said, you could get money from another network or something like that. But look at Impact Wrestling is a perfect example. What fucking channel is it on now? Access or what?
Yep, Access.
I see. I didn't even know because it's changed. It's gone from like Spike to Paramount to fucking Access to.
Well, remember when it was on like the fucking TV Guide preview channel or whatever, like the Pop channel?
Yeah,
like,
it was
that was really fucking weird.
So it's suffered from the fact of not having a big network like you said.
Are we saying AEW on Sci-Fi?
Oh God, yeah.
No,
yeah.
man, because Sci-Fi's part of the fucking USA. What is that? Viacom. No chance that they go anywhere near them because then WWE would be like, well, fuck, we'll just pull both Raw and NXT off of USA and put them on Fox, which is not something that fucking USA wants. So yeah, I mean, Viacom ain't gonna touch AEW.
Yeah, it's tricky waters there. They got it's.
So I mean, you think you take Viacom out of the running and you take Turner out of the running, like you have some pretty shitty cable channels left.
Yeah, I don't even know who you're left with at that point because Viacom has NBC, right?
Yep, NBC, CBS, Paramount, Sci-Fi.
They have
USA.
Who has ABC?
I think that might be like the ESPN brand of networks. I think I'm not 100% on that. I know that ESPN and ABC work together like a lot of things. So I mean, and like ESPN was the names thrown out there, like they could get AEW if they wanted, but I mean, like I don't think that that would be good for anybody. I don't.
That right there, I don't think would be any good. And the only reason I say that is because I see how shitty of a job that ESPN has done with hockey in general. It's still like hockey has always been like the bastardized sport of the four major sports there. It's still kind of like a niche sort of thing. So I don't feel like ESPN would do as well with professional wrestling. I feel like AEW would get an even lesser treatment than the NHL already does.
So here's the thing to focus on in this, from my perspective. Tony Khan is a shrewd businessman. Like, he's not just some dude with a big pile of money that doesn't know what he's doing, that's just tossing money around because he's got it. Like, I think he knows what he's doing. And I think if he starts to see trouble a-brewing, I think you'll see AEW elevate their product. Like, it's good now, but I think he's one of those guys that'll go, we might be in trouble here if we don't show them that we're must see. And I have confidence in Tony Khan that he'll elevate his product to meet the expectations of the network that he wants to sign on, so that he can go to the meeting or whatever when it's time to renew their TV contract and go, okay, here's what we did this year. Here's where we started at. Here's where we're at. Here's where we project to go next year and the year after. Like it's clear if they could show them a pattern of growth, a pattern of viewership, if they can show them that things are going in a positive direction, I feel like there is confidence to be had there. And, you don't know what all these other shows that they canceled were doing. The existing shows. Like, some might be good. A lot of people might have been talking about them, but what was viewership on them? Like, I don't know that. So I don't know if viewership was waning, if they had started hot and slowly were declining over time, and, Discovery's
For what,
looking at it
AEW?
going,
No,
for the
they're
shows
like
that they
the
canceled
Flash
already.
and stuff like that.
Oh, gotcha.
Like, for shows that they canceled already. Now, like, they might be popular shows. Like, you might have a lot of people talking about them. But
The Flash
I don't
was
know
great.
what the viewership numbers were. Well, sure, you think The Flash was great. And I'm not saying it's not. But I'm saying I don't know what the numbers are. Maybe year after year after year, viewership started to decline.
Well, and I understand.
And they took a look at that show
why.
and go, hey, a lot of people seem to really like this show, but look at the pattern of viewership. If it's going down, we're gonna do some cutting, and we're gonna do some cutting on things that are consistently losing viewership. So if AEW is not that, they might not have anything to worry about.
Well, and the thing is, too, going into those meetings that you were talking about, you want to be able to go in those meetings instead of going, well, here's what we're going to do. This is why you need to keep us. You need to walk into those meetings and go, here's why you need us. You know what I mean?
And I mean, TBS and TNT haven't seen like these kind of Wednesday night ratings in years. Nope. They're consistently the highest rated show on cable. I don't foresee it being an issue per se to stay status quo, but I really think that they were looking to expand the brand. I really think that Tony was hoping to leverage some of that negotiation into getting a Ring of Honor time slot, into getting a streaming deal. And and you know what? Like, if Discovery's gonna own that shit and be like, you know what? If you want to go out and do a fucking streaming deal with somebody else, with Hulu or whatever, you have at it. Or with fucking New Japan or whatever. If you want to do something like that, you have at it. I don't think that they will, because that's projected profit that they'd be losing. I just think it's tricky right now. It's very difficult for them to know where they stand. And I mean, like I said, this is like and I know the merger happened, I think back in June. So but this 1 week has had more movement in it than any of the other week combined. So I we may not know for a while what's going to happen. We may be working ourselves into a tizzy. Who fucking knows?
And there's a good possibility that, if a lot of things are being cut, maybe Tony Khan's plans of expansion, a Ring of Honor show might be put on hold. I don't think this means, trouble in the waters for AEW as far as their, product goes or the network that they're on goes. Maybe the Ring of Honor thing is pushed back a little bit. But I think, people that own networks aren't dumb. They own networks for a reason because they're good at making money. They're good at business. So if they see viewership increase, if they see interest increase, I'm not counting it out yet. I think it's something to keep an eye on, and I think Tony Khan will keep an eye on it. But I think AEW will be fine. Like Beef said, it's the highest rated show on a Wednesday time slot. Like they're killing it. So I think AEW will remain. Whether or not the Ring of Honor weekly show happens, that could be a different story.
Right, and I think that's the problem. Like and I'm sure that Tony would be just fine with the existing, but let's be real. Like they got to start growing. Like it is year 4, year 3. It is. We're in the fall they'll maybe be moving into year 4. Like
what's the next step, basically?
Right, and I understand that we're in the still kind of in the clutches of the pandemic, but I think we're all kind of moving past that. But they had to deal with a lot of that. I get that, but they have to start growing, because if they don't, they'll stay stagnant, and if they stay stagnant, viewers will start petering off a little bit, little by little, until it's basically what Raw was before Triple H took over. So, I just think, again, like I don't think AEW is in danger of losing their spot. I think they're in danger of being able to grow.
All right, now listen. I've had enough. It's time to talk about the worst thing that has ever been shown in a wrestling ring. I don't care about the rest of the card. I'll say that as far as the event goes, Jim Crockett Productions, which I didn't even know was still a fucking thing, presents Ric Flair's last match. The card overall, I thought was good. There were good matches. There were entertaining matches. It was neat to see some people. The Ric Flair's last match. This, oh my Lord. There aren't many words that I can use to describe this. It was by far, and I challenge anyone to come up with a more pathetic, sad display in a wrestling ring other than this. This was the worst thing I have ever seen. Ric Flair looked lost most of the time. He looked lost on his way to the ring. He looked lost in the ring. This dude was famous for throwing chops. My 5-year-old daughter can throw a chop that looks better than what Ric Flair did. And I don't want any excuses. Like, I just don't. I don't want to hear them. I don't want to hear excuses from viewers. I just don't. Because the display that they put on was just, it was so sad. He looks so old. And shut up, you. I'm on the podcast. Go away. You've been drinking?
No.
Get out of here. It was
Get out of
live.
I mean, oh my
Holy
Lord.
shit.
The only thing,
It never should have happened. It never should have happened. This showed just how frail and old Ric Flair is. And I don't know how anyone could watch this and and think, all right, you know what? I'm glad Ric Flair had I'm glad he had his no. He should have had his last match against Shawn Michaels, and it has nothing to do with the fact that it was against Shawn Michaels. It's the fact that at that age, he was still able to relatively perform in the ring without looking sad and pathetic. Now, no.
Not even relatively. That match still holds up, man.
The only thing I can
it
compare Ric Flair's last match to is Jeff Hardy versus Sting.
No.
When Jeff Hardy was like fucking out of his gourd.
Jake the Snake Roberts, I think it's at Heroes of Wrestling. Whenever he was just shit-faced and using his snake as a dick and...
Oh, man.
Now, look, I'm not giving passes for anything.
No.
But Jake the Snake was shit-faced. Jeff Hardy was shit-faced.
What about Scott Hall? What about Scott
Rick's-
Hall when he was shit-faced too?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you can throw out as many shit-faced examples as you want to. You're not changing my mind here. Like, those guys were inebriated and performed poorly and shouldn't have been in the ring. Ric Flair is old and decrepit, and for someone that is lauded as one of the greatest of all times,
Allegedly.
for this to be the last thing that he does, that does his legacy a disservice. Because that's what people are going to remember this match. And only the blockheaded numbnuts who get the feel-goods of like, oh, he came out with the big gold belt, and oh, they gave him the big gold belt, and he stood at the top of the entrance right after his match, after he won his last match, and held up the big gold belt, the belt synonymous with Ric Flair, and no,
I mean,
man.
He forgot the fucking big gold belt. The ref had to like run it back to him and was like, "Here, hold this up."
Andrade tried to give it to him several times on the way back to the ring.
And
He
that's,
had no idea.
He was so out of it that he couldn't take the belt on his way to the ring before the match
crazy.
even transpired. He undid his robe and had the belt around his waist, but he couldn't
get it
figure
off.
out. He couldn't figure out how to get the belt off.
I
Or he
forgot
couldn't
about that
figure
shit.
out how to walk to the ring without tripping over his own robe. He had to stop and shuffle several times. Ozzy Osbourne could have put on a better match today than Ric Flair did.
Oof. That's rough. Ouch. Ouch all around.
Well, I will say this, like, you know who I really feel bad for in all this? I don't feel bad for Ric Flair. Fuck him. You know who I feel bad for? I feel bad for the other talent that was involved in the fucking match. Because,
you know
like
what?
Beef said,
fuck 'em.
they're gonna be associated with this bullshit.
Now,
fuck 'em,
hold on a
fuck 'em.
second.
This
Hold
was
on a
put
second.
on. No, I'm not holding on. You shut the hell up. This was put on by Jim Crockett Promotions. None of these guys are signed to Jim Crockett Promotions. Jim Crockett Promotions doesn't hold a contract for any of these dickheads. These guys were in this match of their own accord and of their own volition. So I don't feel the slightest shred of pity or whatever for them. They chose to be in this match of their own accord. Shame on Jay Lethal, especially. Shame on him, because he trained with Ric Flair before Ric Flair got into this match. He should have known full well, this dude should not be doing this. Shame on Andrade. He's Ric Flair's son-in-law. He should also know better than many other people that Ric Flair was incapable of wrestling in this match.
Well, did you listen to Ric Flair's promo after the match? He talked about like leading up. He talked about leading up to the match how he just drank a whole bunch, and then how after the match he was gonna go drink some more. Like, all right, good call.
Yeah, it was the saddest, most pathetic display ever. And shame on all these. You know what? I'll say this. If there's only one kudo that I'm going to give throughout this entire thing, and that was to Jeff Jarrett. Because Jeff Jarrett, aside from the fact that you could visibly tell that he's put on a little bit of weight, he wasn't a, fat guy, but you could tell he put on a little bit of weight. He's not an active wrestler anymore. Who wouldn't? And he's, 55? Give or take a few years. Who wouldn't have put on a little bit of weight at that point? But Jeff Jarrett moved like he never missed a beat. He was fast. He wasn't winded. He looked really freaking good for a guy who hasn't been in the ring wrestling for a very long time. And let's not forget that Ric Flair, Jeff Jarrett coming to the ring, he healed up on that crowd. Like he never missed a beat. Like when he came to the ring, he was jawing with the crowd, slapping drinks out of people's hands, grabbing signs, ripping them up. I think he pushed or punched Conrad Thompson in the face.
Nice.
Like, holy crap, man. Like Jeff Jarrett, that right there, like that's an example of a guy that could get in the ring and have his last match and have it look like he's an actual wrestler. Ric Flair looked like he got lost on the way to the cafeteria at the old folks' home. And he was just pissed off because it's steak night and all the steaks are going to be gone before he gets there.
Wow.
It was, I'm telling you, for the spectacle of it, go back and watch this match. Don't expect anything good. Go back and watch it just to see how bad this display was. Because it was an egregious disservice to someone who allegedly, again, was one of the greatest of all times. Because they showed promo packages about Ric Flair throughout this event. And to see where he was versus where he is today, it was just, it's so sad. It's so sad to see it. I know I keep saying, oh, it's so sad, it's so sad. I can't think of anything else to say other than the fact that it was sad to watch.
The match ended, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Ransom, when Flair had Jeff Jarrett in a figure four, and Jeff Jarrett's shoulders were counted down to the mat. Am I right about that, or did Jeff Jarrett tap? I don't remember.
No, Jeff Jarrett was counted. It was a pinfall.
He counted to 3.
It was
Okay.
a pinfall.
So here's the problem. Ric Flair was flat on his back too. They were both flat on their back. Like at the least, that should have been a draw. First of all, the fact that his fucking ego had to have him winning his last match.
Yep.
And we all know that that's a no-no. But fucking Ric Flair did. You know, I have a big problem with that. But the fact that he couldn't even win his own fucking last match. All he had to do was get his shoulders off the mat for 2 seconds. He couldn't fucking do it. He could not do it.
Nope.
He lay flat on his back. Jarrett was flat on their back. It just looks like a fucking car accident.
Oh, it was. It was. And if you go back and rewatch it after the match, while Rick was still in the ring trying to get out of the ring, you could visibly see him say to Andrade, I passed out. So at some point in this match, Ric Flair passed out.
Wow.
Because he said this, he said it to Andrade, and the cameras freaking caught it. The cameras caught him saying to Andrade, I passed out.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Oh, my Lord. How he survived and didn't die, I don't know. Because he has never looked more fragile than he did in this match.
He also wore a shirt the entire time.
Of course he did, because he's flabby and disgusting.
Yup.
So I have a couple questions. One, being that you guys watched it, you know, what do you say to people like a Jay Lethal who thought that the event and the match went off well and thought that the match. Now I'm not trying to pull for one side or the other. But hold on. I'm not trying to pull for one side or the other. I'm just inquiring because I didn't watch this train wreck.
But
I'm probably not going to. But
did Jay Lethal say that?
Yes. Jay Lethal was on Busted Open or whatever. He said he was happy he got to work with his idol. He was happy he got to train with him. He thought everything went pretty well. There have been other people saying that that this match in particular, we have to try not to hold it to the same scrutiny as like everything else that we do as far as like wrestling today.
Then
because
don't have the fucking match.
I know. Okay, now that's
yeah. You're right, Jay. You're right. We should definitely not expect wrestlers not to pass out during the match. Good hot take, Jay Lethal.
Okay, that's what I wanted to get your guys' opinion and your reaction to to the flip side of that, because again, you watched it, I didn't. So
Jay Lethal, I truly believe, is blinded by hero worship. He had
Yep.
very fun and entertaining segments with Ric Flair in Impact.
Mm-hmm.
When it was still TNA, when Jay Lethal was pretending to be Ric Flair, or had like Ric Flair as like one of his alternate personas. The woo off, probably one of the most entertaining promos I have seen come out of Impact. It might be the best. It might be the best promo that I personally have ever seen come out of Impact. I think it's hero worship. I think Jay Lethal thinks of Ric Flair as larger than life, as a pioneer, as the greatest of all time, and he's blinded by that. Because any objective person watching this match would go, this was the worst display that has ever transpired in a wrestling ring, ever. And the whole like, well, you can't hold them to the standards of like wrestlers. No, not an excuse. Ric Flair isn't signed with anybody. He chose to do this of his own volition. Again, everybody that was in this match chose to do this of their own accord. So if you're going to get into a wrestling ring and be a wrestler, you will be held to the same standards. And I don't care how old you are, because you have a choice. Ric Flair has a choice whether or not to get into that ring or not to get into that ring, and he chose to do so. So I will hold him to the same standard that I hold everybody else that gets into a wrestling ring. If it was great, I'll say it was great. If it was abysmal, which it was, I will say it's abysmal. He doesn't get a curve.
that's fair.
Like
That's fair, because
this isn't going to be like school where it's like, oh, everybody did terribly, so we're gonna put in a curve. So like some people do good. No, man, Ric Flair doesn't get a curve. Shame on him for doing this, thinking he could still do it. Shame on everybody else who was involved in this match, who knew what Ric Flair could and couldn't do, and still chose to get into the ring with him.
And I think that's a fair assessment, in all honesty, because like you said, that this is a perfect. You said the words, and it just made me think of some of the wrestlers that we still look up to, a la Chris Jericho. Okay, well, I mean, I'll be the first to admit I'm a total Jerichoholic. All right, but if he's looking a little slow and a little dumpy or anything like that, we've definitely called it out before. You know
Which
what I
he
mean?
is. Yeah, which he 100% is.
Yeah, but I
which
mean, time eventually catches up. It doesn't matter how well you keep yourself conditioned, man. Eventually, the body fucking breaks down.
Right.
Yep.
And so the whole point of that is to know your limit and know when it's time to go or when it's not. Like, perfect example, Undertaker, great fucking wrestler, great persona, iconic for the WWE for all his time that he spent in, and taking a gimmick like that and being able to carry it for all those years. But let's be real, like he should have been done, quite a few WrestleManias ago. If we're being honest, you know what I mean?
Know,
like
Boneyard match was a lot of fun. I will say that.
But you gave me my point. My point being is, he was a little past the prime. Like, and then you have that whole thing, the whole fucking debacle with that match with him and Goldberg, and fucking Undertaker almost literally got killed. Like, it's shit like that. I'd rather see somebody. I would have much rather seen Ric Flair ride off into the sunset after that match at WrestleMania with HBK. That fucking emotional send off. That I'm sorry, I love you. Sweet chin music. Ric Flair's down. That's it. He got to say his tear-filled goodbye. They had a night for him. They had a night for him on Monday Night Raw.
That wasn't his last match, though.
I know. I know. That's my point. Is that should have been it, because what a fucking way to go. Like, you go out on that. You go out on that high note right there. Like, even though,
well, when you're a greedy old bastard that can't manage your money,
yeah,
you don't have a choice.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's he has nobody to blame but himself in that case. I'd rather remember, I'd rather remember his last match, or remember Ric Flair in that way, rather than hearing this this travesty of a last match that he had. Now, because don't get me wrong, listen, I'm not a fan of him personally. Okay, I'm not a fan of the person himself, because we all know plane ride from hell, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, you can't deny his accomplishments in the business. You can't deny what he did for the business at the time while he was in the peak of his career back in, for WCW, for NWA, stuff like that. All well and fine.
All I want.
Well, you can, but it's there. It's just the same way. Like you can't ignore the history of the business. Okay, he was an integral part of the history. But the point is that was then, this is now, and you have to know when to say when. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, or even worse, you almost die in the fucking ring. Just saying.
They were going for the Go ahead, Ransom.
What were you saying, Poot?
I was going to say they were going for the Randy the Ram thing from The Wrestler.
Oh, that was so
honestly,
sad.
We were joking about it, and we were saying Ric Flair's going to die in the ring. I'm not going to lie. I was like, Ric Flair going to die in that ring.
I'm okay with remembering this as Ric Flair's last match, because gross. Because everybody makes choices in life, and it's clear throughout his life he has made several poor choices. This is just the icing on the cake, because everyone is going to remember how old and slow and fragile and confused he looked in his last match. They're gonna look at it, and they're gonna see just how good Jeff Jarrett looked in this match. And they're gonna remember this as Ric Flair's last match, of the referee counting to 3 with both wrestlers flat on their backs, no shoulders up on either one. So it can always be contested. I'm comfortable saying, you know what? Ric Flair didn't win his last match. Referee counted to 3, but Flair's shoulders were down just like Jarrett's.
My man, that's it exactly, dude. Like, everybody's lamenting, I don't want to remember that as Ric Flair's last match. No, you know what? I want people to remember that as Ric Flair's last match, because he is,
Yeah, but you're a bitter sod.
always was.
Like, that's the problem.
As he always was. Overrated, fucking overpaid, waste of time. Was he good in the 80s? He sure was. He could talk real good. But you know who else could? The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. And by God, like, I very rarely hear people fucking talk about Dusty the way they talk about Ric Flair. Like, I very, very rarely do I hear fucking people talk about Hulk Hogan the way they do Ric Flair. And Hulk Hogan changed the business twice. Ric Flair didn't change shit. Ric Flair was great with where he was, but he didn't change or innovate shit. Hulk Hogan made the business happen twice. 2 boom periods. Boom, boom. Dude's an asshole, yes, but he fucking made shit happen. Ric Flair made bad choice after bad choice after bad choice. And you know what happens when you make bad choices? Bad things happen to you.
I thought you were going to go with the you get nothing. I'm
glad. I'm glad that he looked like a big, fat turd in his last match. I'm glad that everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe he looked that bad. Because finally, people are taking these fucking rose-colored glasses off, and they're saying, oh my God, Ric Flair, kind of an asshole, kind of a prick, kind of a greed. Yeah. All of those things. Welcome to what I've been saying the last fucking 10 years.
This was by far the biggest inability to see past your own ego that I think I may have ever seen in wrestling whatsoever. There are a lot of big egos in
that's
wrestling.
A bold fucking statement.
I stand by it. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of big egos in wrestling. Vince McMahon, arguably one of the biggest egos ever, still retired. He didn't wait for this thing to be fought out. He retired. He didn't die at Gorilla. He retired. Ric Flair has the biggest ego in wrestling because if he could not look back on all of his accomplishments and say, you know what? I accomplished great things. He had to have one last match. Not only did he have to have one last match, he had to have one last match that he booked himself to win. Not only did he have one last match that he booked himself to win, he had one last match that he booked himself to win that he couldn't even pull one shoulder off the mat when they were counting Jeff Jarrett to 3. This was the biggest ego stroke that turned into the most pathetic, sad, confused old man display that wrestling has ever seen. Good for Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Good for Ric Flair for having this match, and good for him for looking as abysmal as he did, because I hope every single person that watched that has that memory of this sad, pathetic old man burned into their mind. And when someone says Ric Flair, they think of his old, slow, weak ass in a t-shirt, not able to pull his shoulder off the mat when the referee counted his opponent to 3. That's what Ric Flair deserves.
Ladies,
that's the legacy that he should have.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I may, the vitriol coming from Ransom and Beef is not going to belie the fact that this is what I call MJS. Okay? Not MJF. MJS. Ric Flair is going to what I like to call Michael Jackson syndrome. You can sit there and say that fucking he went out like a piece of shit. His match was garbage. He did all this. And you're right. I'm not disagreeing with you guys. You guys are 100% in the right. Everything that you're saying is correct. But guess what, Cowboys? People are not going to remember that. You know, people are going to mention it. It will be talked about, but it will be dismissed for the rest of the body of work. When people talk about Michael Jackson, one of two things. They talk about his kid diddling, or they talk about how...
Great.
What? Wait. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up for 2 seconds, please.
What body of work?
They're going to talk about Michael Jackson's body of work, and that's what they did. And that's the same thing that will fucking happen with Ric Flair, especially when he actually kicks the goddamn bucket.
Michael Jackson was the king of pop.
He was the king of pop. Beef, to a lot of people, I'm going to keep talking over you. Beef, you can sit there and go, he was the king of pop. You're right. You're correct. But when people talk about his music and they talk about him, they talk about him very fondly. They don't talk about all his weird kid diddling and all his surgeries and all that shit. The people who do talk about it, are not Michael Jackson fans. Most people are Michael Jackson fans, and they can separate the art from the artist. Good for them. I don't know about that. But listen, but with Ric Flair, to a lot of people, and you saw it clearly with someone like Jay Lethal, Ric Flair is held to such a fucking high regard. 99% of people that you talk to, if you ask them about their Mount Rushmore of fucking wrestling, Ric Flair will be on it.
Then they're a bunch of fucking stupid mouth-breathing marks. Ric Flair, at his absolute best, was a B-plus player. He was the top guy in the number 2 promotion. He was top guy in the number 1 promotion for 6 months. Couldn't handle the heat and had to go back down south to Atlanta. No, Ric Flair is a B-plus player to a fucking T.
Okay, so
here's what's. But before I finish up,
we got him rolling, guys. Let him go.
Here's what pisses me off. He'll be on fucking Raw within 3 months because there's another motherfucker that has fucking idol worship for that motherfucker, and that's Triple H. For whatever reason, Triple H thinks Ric Flair is the end-all, be-all. He's going to give him a fucking job on Raw. I don't know if he's going to be a fucking roadie. I don't know if he's going to be a fucking mouthpiece. I don't know if he's going to be a general manager. I don't fucking know. I just know that he's going to end up on Raw, and it's going to fucking grate the ever-loving fuck out of me until he dies.
2 quick things. One, I thought that there was a bit of a falling out between Triple H and Ric Flair over the last number of years. I thought I remembered hearing that. I could be wrong. Two, I don't think Poot was trying to say that he's disagreeing with your position on Ric Flair. I think he's just illustrating that regardless of what we think and regardless of what the reality of the situation is, there are still going to be those people that look at him, like he said, like the Michael Jackson syndrome, where they're gonna look at what he did back then, and they're gonna remember him for all that and not for the plane ride from hell and all his drinking and all the fucking the however much in alimony that he's paying to how many ever ex-wives and this travesty of a last match.
There you go.
When he died. Yeah, that's the point that Poot was making. It wasn't a disagreement. It's just he's just simply stating, unfortunately, there are going to be people that only see it from the one perspective, that that can't see both sides of the coin. They can't sit there and say, like, okay, yeah, you know what? He did good back in the 80s. He did a lot of great stuff then for professional wrestling. But he should have gotten out a lot sooner than what he did. He should have let his last match be X, Y, or Z and not have fucking, then gone to Impact and then done all this stuff and still, and then ended up where it ended up now.
Exactly. That was my point. And I'm not trying to interject here. Please continue this dialogue, but I really gotta fucking go to the bathroom. Bye.
Well, while Poot's going to the bathroom, Beef, do you?
No. There are two sects. There will be two sects of people. There will be the people who are blinded by hero worship, like Jay Lethal. There will be the Ric Flair apologists. They'll claim that he changed the business. That's what they'll see. And they'll see, oh, Ric Flair got to have one last match, and it was so nice that he was able to have a last match with his protege, Jay Lethal, with his friend Jeff Jarrett, and with his son-in-law Andrade. Then there will be another sect of people who will see it for what I truly believe what it was. Just a shame. Just a shame. And I'm not, I'm not a Ric Flair hater, but I'm not a Ric Flair apologist. I agree with Beef. He had chops. His in-ring work, it was B+. And he was arguably a B+ player as compared to other wrestlers that were there with him and that came after him. But the fact of the matter remains is that no matter how good you once were, if this was the last thing that you do in the ring, it was a very sad and unfortunate display. Like, I will not be able to have a conversation with somebody that thinks, good for Rick having a last match, or I'm glad he was able to do this, or it was nice for him to be able to. No, it wasn't. It was a shame. Because if you hold Ric Flair in that high of a regard of what he was able to accomplish and what he's done over his career and how long he's been in the business, if you hold him to that high regard, you should be sad that what transpired at this event was his last match and will be the last sign-off of Ric Flair in a wrestling ring as an active competitor.
Yeah.
If you can't come to terms with the greatness that you see in him and the sad spectacle that was put on at this event, if those two things can't coincide with each other, I can't have a discussion with you, because you're blinded by hero worship and you're not seeing the match for what it truly was.
I do have one thing I want to say, not about that match in particular, but about the event itself. A positive thing, the fact that the event overall was able to come together, because you had a lot of moving parts from people that were involved with a lot of different companies. You had Jeff Jarrett, who is employed by WWE. You had a lot of AEW guys. You had people from independents and stuff like that. So the fact that it was all able to kind of come together kind of leads back to something that we were talking about fantasy booking these cross promotional things that, hopefully you might see, like maybe Triple H reach out to somebody and do some sort of cross promotional thing. The fact that this event on a whole, not, Flair match aside, just the event as a whole was able to come together, and the way that they presented it as like an old timey feel and stuff like that or whatever, I think was neat. Was pretty cool that they were actually able to make this all happen. The nuts and bolts of the logistical end of it all was very cool that they were able to make it happen. It's just a shame that they had to end it with that abysmal match that happened.
And here's the thing: we're all
Hey,
following.
I need to interject here real quick. I've got to bounce off this podcast. You guys keep going. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I will talk to you folks later.
Bye, Ransom.
Bye.
We are all falling prey to the common fallacy that this is Ric Flair's last match.
Oh God, please don't let it. Don't put that bad juju out in the universe there, Beef.
This is his third last match that we've seen.
What was his second last match?
Versus Hulk Hogan. And
was that it? Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I was like, I'm not aware of anything in Impact because I never paid attention. So
this is his last match for now until he needs more money.
Ugh.
That's the truth.
Just stop. Just stop while you're ahead.
All right, let's do a burrito. Poot. Is Poot still pooping? Poot's pooping.
Poot's pooping.
Tom!
Hey,
Champ,
SummerSlam standings. We never got those.
Oh shit! Yeah, my God, yeah.
I was started talking the whole time to give you time to do it. I was hoping you had it by now.
Yeah, man. I sure do. Yeah,
Awesome.
I've had them for a while.
Okay.
All right. So, thanks for reminding me.
No
all right,
problem.
so-
And that's not it's not. I wasn't trying to get it out there to be like, haha, let me hear that I won. No, it's
No.
I
yeah.
don't want Amber blowing up our inbox like she usually does.
Man,
Anyways, I love you,
you know what?
Amber,
I'm
but
not gonna go there. Not gonna go there. All right. So here are your official standings. Yes, I can officially say congratulations to the King of the Jungle, Tiger Bomb Tom. He is the new official Chooseweight champion. I did fall at a very close 72. The Street Profits, if they would have won, I would have won, but that's neither here nor there. It is.
So what did
it
I
is.
wait? You had 70. What did I have then? 70.
You had 74. I had 72.
Okay, gotcha.
So if that match would have flopped, we would have been fine.
Yep.
I'm glad we brought
and then-
Beef down off the ledge of all the Ric Flair vitriol.
I know, right? It's good.
And then
Just pour heart
Pat. Oh yeah, I was starting to get a headache. I was getting real worried there for a minute.
He was seeing the light. Don't go towards the light, Beef.
Pat came in third with 67.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry. I apologize. That was not Pat. I'm sorry. That was Dave. Dave came back with a pretty strong performance at SummerSlam. 35-point night, tying only myself. But unfortunately, it was for naught as Dave finished with 67. Next at 60 was Amber, and that was a big fall as she had 45 coming into the night.
Ooh.
36 points up for grabs. So yeah, she kind of took her sad. I apologize. I'm just fucking this up all over. So Tom 74, me 72, Dave 67, Pat had 61, Amber had 60. So Pat gets the bragging rights of the Pat house, of the mid-card maniac house.
Well, welcome to the couch,
At one point.
Pat. You're sleeping on the couch until August.
Then comes Poot, was 57. Not your
I
best
wasn't
outing, my man.
last.
And then comes Ransom with 49.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big swing, and you know what? You were when we talked about it on the picks episode, Beef. You were 100% right. Amber, no offense, I don't know what the hell you were thinking putting 8 points on Baron Corbin.
Yeah, that was a big risk.
Oh boy. I mean, now granted, I took a risk putting 8 on Liv Morgan, but I was like, it's way too soon to take that title off of her. And to my credit, I will pat myself on the back for this one. I pretty much called the end of that match. Liv won. It was a questionable win. Ronda got pissed, beat people up. Now she's suspended.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Hire me
Oh,
on
that-
Triple H.
Ransom.
He's gone.
He gone.
Oh, he gone.
Yeah, he gone. He had to go.
Oh, he gone.
Yeah.
He all right?
Yeah. I think he just had to go. Either battery was dying, or something was dying, or he was dying. I don't know. He's fine. It's probably fine.
Oh, okay.
It's probably all fine.
Probably.
Well,
Fine.
I feel bad now that I went and I had my constitutional.
Oh well.
Well, it's not time to feel bad. It's time to take us home, country poot.
Yeah, this time I'm actually going to do it, and there won't be any poots. I was fucking exhausted last week, guys.
Happens to the best of us. All good.
Dude, I was fucking wiped, and I honestly did in my fuzz. I thought something was wrong with my fucking mic.
Nope.
I did.
Welcome to the club, Poot. Now we just got to initiate the other two in.
Yeah, the other two, half the P3 went to nappy time during a podcast. Dude, it was, and the worst part is it wasn't even physical tired, it was mental tired.
That's the worst.
Like, my brain was like, you can't do this right now. All I have to do is talk about sweaty men wrestling around doing sweaty things. My brain's like, nah, bro, you can't even do that. And it didn't work. But I'll take us home. And I'm going to do it really quick because we only have one episode ready. Tiger Bomb Tom and our new glorious Cruiserweight champion. That's right. You know what? I'll be your advocate. I'll figure something out better for next time. That's right. Fuck it. Tiger Bomb Tom's our champion. Beef, you're a glorious champion. You're a lovely boy. You're wonderful. You're fantastic. But Tiger Bomb Tom reigns right now, for now. And check out his page on Facebook, Casual Gaming Dad. Join Casual Gaming Dad's Corner. Subscribe to him on YouTube at Casual Gaming Dad. And like him over on Twitch. And subscribe to him over there as well, Casual Gaming Dad 84. Make sure you check that out. It's a lot of fun. And I'm sorry I missed... Amogus this past week, boys. Like I said, I've been a fucking emotional and mental wreck the past couple days. So I was just like, nope, going to bed. Went to bed. But check him out and make sure you check out all his streams. He's absolutely awesome. Really great guy. Really talented streamer. And also check out his merch over at Gould. That's Gould.
D. Yes.
GouldGaming.com. And search on Casual Gaming Dad and buy all his awesome merch. He has a lot of really cool stuff, including your very own Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast t-shirt. And we appreciate everyone who has bought those, including some people in Michigan. Is that where it was?
I don't even remember now.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, there. So at whenever AEW was in Detroit, one of my other streamer friends, Retro Gaming for Life, shout out to him. He said he was at the AEW show and he saw some people with the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast t-shirt. So yeah, thanks thanks Detroit.
That's so fucking awesome. That is a cool fucking feeling. We also want to thank Mr. Sean Tischler and his work with professional wrestling in the central Pennsylvania area. And also off the air, I'm going to give you guys a little hot take that Mr. Sean Tischler sent me. I don't know if he sent it to you guys, but he sent it to me. And I'll tell you off the air. It's a little secret. Got to keep some things secret. Don't say what it is. Because I don't know if we're supposed to announce it.
Okay.
Okay? If you do know, that is.
I don't know.
I'll let you know. We also want to thank Frig Off Ransom, our very own Ransom boy who's not here right now, and his channel, Frig Off Ransom on YouTube. He's hilarious and one of my best friends. So you might want to go subscribe to him and check him out. He's hilarious. For myself, the Barbarian Poot the Bard, for Mr. Ransom the Madman, for our former, and I say that with no salt. I'm not doing the former thing. I'm just going to say our former Cruiserweight champion, Mr. Beef the Legend. Surely he will have that belt over his shoulder again at some point, I have no doubt. And for our reigning, defending, undisputed Cruiserweight champion, Mr. Tiger
Uppercut.
Bomb Tom. Have a good evening.